Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the.
YouTube! What is going on, y'all? Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. I hope everybody is having a magnificent night this Sunday evening. This is actually new to me. I've never gone live on a Sunday evening, especially following a game. I don't know why I haven't done this before. And so I'm extremely happy to be here. For those of you guys that are new to the Team Steezy family, I'm your host, Calvin Domingo, a.k.a. Steezy. Hey, spin! We checking in. We in the building, baby. Once again, I hope everybody's having a great night, man. As you can tell, I feel great, man. Every day is a blessing. If you guys know me, I mean, and we blessed by the greatest, right? And so not only is that always the case, but the Seattle Seahawks, are they the best in the West, back to first place in the NFC West? Now, things could change if the Rams manage to pull off an upset versus the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday night tonight. But until that happens, I mean, the Seattle Seahawks, yes, are first place in the NFC West, baby. So let's go, man. Before we do kick things off, I do want to hop over here in the chat and see who's in the building with me. Again, this is new to me. I'm not used to going live, Sunday evenings. This is a lot different as far as what I'm used to, and just schedule-wise, I'm not exactly sure how many of you guys are, tuning in on YouTube on Sunday evenings. But hey, man, if this is a good turnout, I might start doing this regularly. And so you guys let me know if this is something that you guys want to see more of on Sunday evenings. If you guys think that I should go live a little earlier, like right after the game, then, you let me know, man. But wow, I'm in a great mood. So we got my dog, Kenny fam, in the building saying, "What's up, Steezy?" He said, "My dog is locked in. Hope you've been well, brother." Man, I hope you've been smooth. I hope you've been well. Kenny, I don't even remember the last time we talked. I don't remember the last time I saw you in person, but man, you'll always be my brother. And we go way back, and you've been showing love and you've been supporting since before I even started with this whole media journey of mine. And shoot, it's great hearing from you. It's great to talk to you, Kenny. I hope you're still here in the chat. Man, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, brother. Truly. We got my guy Devo in the building saying, "Easy, we back." Heck yeah, we are back, Devo. Happy to have you here. Good to see you here. Long time no see. Long time no talk. First place in the NFC West. The defense is trending upward. I mean, less than 20 points allowed in 3 straight games. And I'm just talking about regulation now. But that's less than 20 points in 3 straight weeks that the defense has not allowed, or has allowed. That's the best way to phrase that. But hey, man, Ernest Jones, Julian Love said it, man. Ernest Jones has been a big reason why this defense has turned up in, the fashion that it has. Rayshawn Jenkins was back today. I'll admit he's a little rusty, but he definitely still did his thing. Kobe Bryant, Leonard Williams was an absolute dog tonight. I mean, my gosh, just wreaking havoc from everywhere. Let's not forget, Uchenna Nwosu has been on IR, and so he hasn't been able to kind of crash this defensive party that we've been having here in Seattle. And so I can't wait to see what he's going to bring to the table once he's good to come back. But, oh, man, Devin Witherspoon, it doesn't always show up in the box score, but Devin Witherspoon and the contributions that he brings to the table, you have to watch damn near every snap of every game to really, truly, I think, understand his value and what he brings to the table. Because, I mean, my gosh, I'm not sure if he has an interception. Does he have an interception? Does anybody want to check that for me? I'm not sure if he has an interception on the season. And as far as counting stats go, again, it's not the most glamorous, but in watching, obviously, I watch every Seahawks game as do a majority of you guys. And to see just what he does on the field, I mean, a lot of that you just can't quantify, right? And so, I mean, Devin Witherspoon, the list goes on. I've just been talking about guys on defense. I haven't even talked about anybody on offense yet. But I think, it's definitely right to spend a little bit more time in talking about the defense. I mean, again, that's 3 straight weeks now in a row, all against NFC West opponents, all against divisional foes, in which the Seahawks have held them to below 20 points, all in regulation. Right? I'll pull this stat up later on for you guys to see on the screen. But in week 9 against the LA Rams, yeah, it was a loss in overtime. But if you take away that overtime touchdown and that defensive touchdown that the Seahawks offense allowed, Seattle only allowed that Rams offense to score 13 points in week 9. Last week, in week 11 versus the Niners, 17 points. The Cardinals, 6 points. But look, the Cardinals were coming into this game on a 4-game win streak. They've surpassed 350-plus yards in 3 of their last 4. Their defense definitely stepped up to the plate today. Seattle didn't even eclipse 20, but, I mean, if the defense is going to perform at this level, then Seattle might not need to, but it is nice to know that Seattle's offense is more than capable of dropping 20 on any given opponent. I mean, now that JSN is looking like a legitimate number 1, DK Metcalf, obviously, we all know what he's capable of. Same goes with Tyler Lockett. And shout out to Tyler Lockett, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw his cleats, but hey, he doesn't know the gender of his upcoming baby yet, but just for him to kind of rock those cleats and to kind of just Tyler Lockett being Tyler Lockett, man. I mean, statistically, he didn't have the biggest of games, and he isn't having the biggest of seasons, but I thought those cleats were real cool. We got my guy Darren here in the bed. Man, what's good, Darren? I hope you've been doing smooth, brother. Darren is saying my uncle almost made a bet early in the year to have them win the division. LOL. It's still early. Well, maybe early is the wrong word, but there's still a lot of time left, in the season. But, hey, man, it's not too late. It's not too late. I think that right now you can still make a good amount of money if you were to bet on the Seahawks. I don't think the Seahawks, even though they are first place in the NFC West right now, I don't think they are betting favorites. Now, I could be wrong, and sportsbooks might obviously tilt the odds a little different after tonight's results. We'll see. But Darren, man, he might have missed out earlier in the year, but it's not too late. It's not too late. Happy to see you here, though, brother. We got Kenny here saying, yeah, of course, man, you've been killing it. Hey, Kenny, it wouldn't be possible without all the support from all my loved ones, family, friends, people I grew up with. There's just a lot of people that want to see me win, and a lot of people that's been supporting since before I even started. And so I really have you guys to be thankful and to be grateful for, because without the Team Steezy family, without all of my supporters and my fans and my subscribers and whatnot, I wouldn't be in the position that I am, and I wouldn't be growing at the rate that I am. And so, Kenny, I appreciate you for acknowledging that and just for kind of putting that out there again. I mean, you've been showing love and you've been supporting since even before I started. And so it's just, man, that really just puts a smile on my face. So thank you, Kenny, for real. We got Dakota here in the building, man. What's going on, Dakota? About time we had a great, well-rounded game of ball. Last week was a difficult win, but today was all around great. Our defense looked money. I think offensively, Dakota, Seattle definitely has some struggles. I mean, Geno Smith again threw another interception, and that interception, while it didn't cost Seattle the game, it kept Arizona in the game. And so it's not a pleasant sight to see. And, there were a couple of style drives. We'll get into that throughout the course of tonight's show. But I think overall your point still does stand. I mean, special teams, Michael Dixon, best punter in football, hands down. I mean, I think, again, his impact is also something that you're not always going to see. I mean, I guess, to be fair, you don't really see stats for punters, right? But special teams was phenomenal today. Defense was more than phenomenal. The offense, there's a couple of things to work on here. I think the running game still isn't where it needs to be. It still isn't what it could be. And so that's definitely still something to kind of work on. The offensive line also showed a couple of I don't think the offensive line played as well as it did last week. But again, it's a dub, right? And so we'll take that. We'll take what we could get. But Coda, going back to your point, I mean, yeah, the defense looked absolutely money. I just said it, but I'll say it again. Seattle has held 3 straight opponents to below 20 points in regulation in each of their last 3 games. Again, the Rams to 13 points in week 9, and I'm not counting the pick 6 that the Rams scored, and I'm also not counting what they scored in overtime because, again, this stat is the Seahawks have held 3 straight opponents to below 20 points in regulation. And so the Rams to 13 in week 9, the Niners last week to 17, and then the Cardinals today to 6 points. They couldn't even score a touchdown. And both teams, both the Seahawks and the Cardinals, they both had 2 opportunities in the red zone, or they both had 2 red zone attempts. And so it's not like there's a big discrepancy in, oh, the Seahawks were in the red zone, a lot more times than the Cardinals were. No, both teams had equal opportunities in the red zone. Seattle was happy to convert, and defensively they clamped up. But that defense, yes, not only is it looking money, I think the arrows only continue to point up. I think there's still room for improvement. And again, like I just mentioned earlier, Uchenna Nwosu, one of this team's best players overall on any side of the ball, hasn't really played at all this year. And so imagine once he comes back, once he's healthy, Tyrese Snyder, he had his first sack of his NFL career. Once he starts to kind of get more acclimated into things, the sky is the limit, right? The sky is the limit. Now, before the season, I didn't predict a top 10 defense because I thought that was a little optimistic, but I did expect the defense to finish in the top half of the NFL, and I think Seattle's more than on their way to getting there. We got the official Meech in the building saying, what's good, brother? Been a minute, my guy. Man, it has been a minute. Like I was telling everybody at the top of the show, I'm not really used to going live on Sunday evenings, but you know what? I'm starting to like the turnout, and most people are off Sunday nights, right? A lot of people are kind of dreading, their Mondays, and so why not finish off the week with a stream, man? And kind of just by talking Seahawks with you guys. I love chopping it up with you guys. I love just, seeing you guys here in the chat and us kind of going back and forth. I love it. I absolutely love it. Next week, I'm going to try to bring a guest on for you guys. And so definitely stay tuned for that. But the official Meech, thanks for tuning in, man. As always, you always show love too. So I'm more than grateful. We have Cheryl Inman in the building. How are you doing, man, Cheryl? Cheryl here is saying, I called it a Jason Myers win earlier this week. Well, he didn't have to win the game for us. He definitely did his part. But Cheryl, I don't believe we met before. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. So I just want to say welcome. I hope you're having a blessed evening, and thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tapping in. And you could be watching anything else, but you're tuning in to me. And so I'm grateful for that, and I'm happy to have you here. Thanks for being here, Cheryl. Hey, man, we got love, bro, in the building, man. Not Chief, representing ATL, but always tapped in with what's going on over here in Seattle. Not Chief, man, what's going on with you, man? I hope you're having a great night. I know you're full of joy right now because of, what the Seahawks were able to do earlier today. And Not Chief, man, you got to be one of my longest tenured supporters. I feel like every time I go live, I always expect to see you. And, here you are, tapping in, showing love. And so, Not Chief, happy to have you here. Always happy to have you here. And thanks for tuning in. Should have won by a lot more today, but how about that defense? And right. Kind of going back to what I was saying to Coda earlier today, the offense was a little inconsistent, right? Not only was there that nasty Geno Smith INT, but the run game, it didn't seem like the run game was really in sync today, right? Like K9 had overall a solid game from a scrimmage yard standpoint, but as far as his efficiency on the ground, let me go back here. 2.6 yards a carry. And by no means is that Cardinals defense elite. They're not trash. They're more so middle of the pack. And so I kind of expected a Ken Walker breakout game just because I feel like as far as just rushing, just strictly rushing and running the football by his lonely, it's been a while since I've seen a breakout game from K9. But again, a win is a win. And so these things that we're talking about, I'm sure the team will hash it out and the team will, go over the film and break things down, and they'll kind of come to the same conclusions. And so I'm not worried. Again, this team has all the talent in the world on all sides of the football. And so as long as they're working to rectify mistakes and looking to improve on things that they weren't able to kind of accomplish today, then, I'm fine with that. But Not Chief, I do agree. I think Seattle could have won, but a lot more. Again, the offense just was not consistent. They had a couple of stall drives. Again, the running game just wasn't as efficient and as effective. The offensive line, I think, took a step back. Not even I think, but I believe took a step back from what we saw last week. But again, Abe Lucas, he's still working to get acclimated. Oluwatimi, I mean, it's only his second start, right? And so guys still have to kind of gel together. And that's 2 new starters on the offensive line. And so, again, we'll take what we could get. You can't get too mad at them, especially in a lopsided victory like this. I mean, at least that's how it felt, right? We got my guy Sajin in the building, man. Long time no see, long time no talk. Sajin, I hope you're having a blessed evening. Always happy to have you here, and man, I'm having a great night. I'm feeling blessed, so I hope you are too, Sajin. We got Jackie Reyes also in the building saying hello, Steezy. Hello to you, Miss Jackie Reyes. Sajin, I said that we are not losing this game. Put some respect on the Seahawks, man. Hey, same here. I put some money on the Seahawks too, so let's go, baby. Yeah. Jackie saying bye week got them back in the game. I think the bye week certainly helped. I mean, but when you trade for a linebacker as good as an Ernest Jones, Tyrese Knight, I mean, he's been waiting to start. When you kind of put him into the lineup and when the offense is doing their part for the most part, then yeah, I mean, this is the sort of product, the sort of result that you start to get. And so, yeah, I think it played a factor, no doubt about that. Sajin here with the Sunday Night Football score update. I'm going to be real transparent with you guys. I was a little late to the stream because I was actually watching the Sunday Night Football game. I got some fantasy players that I was kind of on the lookout for, and so I apologize. Thankfully, you guys weren't even tuned in when I initially went live, and so I don't think anybody's really tripping. But Sajin, we appreciate the score update. Thank you for that. We got Fly Zero Gravity here in the building and checking in. I don't think I've seen you here in a while, but Fly Zero Gravity, happy to have you here. D look energized, and if offense can get running back Zach Charbonnet to help block on pass plays, I love him even more. I love Steezy too. Hey, I love you guys more than you guys know. Fly Zero Gravity, always happy to see you in the chat. Long time no see, long time no talk. Thanks for tuning in, and let's have a great show, shall we? Oh, man, I'm in a great mood. I'm always in a great mood, but I'm in an even greater mood today. So who knows, man? I might be feeling in such a good mood that I might want to just hand out some Steezy merch. How about this? How about this? All right. Look. We're going to get back to the show, but real quick. Follow me on Instagram, @SteezySmithTV if you aren't already, and you'll be entered into a drawing to win Team Steezy merch. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a live show on this channel. All super chats are greatly appreciated. And speaking of super chats, before we resume with the show, I'm going to just say this. First 3 people, or I might say 2. First 2 to 3 people to super chat or to send any super chat amount while I'm live tonight will automatically win free Team Steezy merch instantly. Whatever you want, whether it's a hat, a snapback, a shirt, or a hoodie, or a gym tee, you let me know. But the first 2 to 3 people to super chat, again, any amount, you just automatically win free Team Steezy merch. How about that? I might even start doing this regularly. For every win that the Seahawks add to their record, first 2 to 3 people to super chat me on my first show following a win wins free Team Steezy merch. So if you care about that, then have at it. If you don't, well, we're going to continue on with the show. So as you guys know, the Seahawks are now tied. Actually, you might not know this, but if you didn't know, the Seahawks are now tied with the Cardinals and the Rams with 2 divisional victories on the season so far. The Seahawks are above 500 for the first time in over a month when they defeated the Atlanta Falcons 34-14 back in Week 7, which was all the way back on October 20th. And it's crazy how time flies so fast because I feel like that game was just yesterday. But again, Cool stat for you guys here. The Seahawks are above 500 for the first time in over a month when they defeated the Atlanta Falcons 34-14 back in week 7. I said this ad nauseum, but I'm going to say it again, and I'll just put it up on the screen for anybody that can't or that didn't hear me. Seattle has now held 3 straight opponents to below 20 points in regulation in each of the past 3 weeks, the bye notwithstanding. And it helps that they're all NFC West opponents because when it matters most, Seattle is here showing up, right? And we'll run through it again. Week 9 held the Rams to 13 points. Overtime and defensive touchdown notwithstanding, like I said, ad nauseum. Week 11 held the 49ers to 17 points just last week. Today, week 12, held the Cardinals to 6 points today. And here's a couple of stats here. Oh, time of possession. Okay, no, I got one of these stats wrong. Hold on. 26. All right, just a second, you guys. Just a second. This is what happens when you kind of when you're rushing to put a show together. All right. Anyways, let's resume. What was I saying? Okay, so yeah, helped the Cardinals to 6 points today. Where I went. Okay, forgive me. I don't remember what I was trying to get at, but to continue along with the point that I was trying to make, that Seahawks defense, again, the arrow is pointing upward. And as you guys can probably see on the thumbnail, I mean, it's all well in Seattle again. Might be a bit premature to ask that, but to kind of answer today, I have to say, yeah. I mean, as long as the offensive line is marginally improving with each passing week, if the defense can remain shut down as they have been showing us these last 3 to 4 weeks, the offense has all this firepower and talent. Sky's the limit. And if I'm a higher seeded team in the NFC, this is not a team I want to see in any round of the playoffs. Assuming Seattle makes the playoffs, again, we're looking a little further down the road here. I don't want to do too much of that. But with Seattle peaking at the right time and with Seattle kind of ascending during this closing stretch of the NFL season, look, man, any team that gets hot entering the playoffs, you never know what can happen in the playoffs. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Seahawks are bound to win the Super Bowl, but yeah, my hopes are high right now. My hopes are high. Fly Zero Gravity here saying Rams are getting beat tonight, 20-7. I had the Eagles winning. I predicted that the Eagles were going to win. They're just the better football team, plain and simple. A lot more talent. Their strengths. How would I say this? Their strengths, what they're good at, I'm blanking here. This is why I talk Seahawks and not everybody else. Now, but what I wanted to say about the Eagles is that just defensively, not only are they more talented than the Rams overall, but just defensively, I mean, their secondary is one of the stingiest in the National Football League. And when it comes to the Rams, their strength, especially when healthy, is moving the ball via the air. I mean, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, when you have those guys, obviously you can air it out at will. And so I don't know if the game is back from halftime yet, but I do hope that the Eagles do hold on for sure. Sajin is saying, being 2-4 at home, we got the job done. No doubt about that. I mean, something was going to have to give, right? Like I said earlier, the Cardinals were entering today's game with on a 4-game win streak. And meanwhile, us, on the other hand, we had a 4-game losing streak at home. And so I'm just glad that it was Seattle's side of things that ended up prevailing. And, yeah, go Hawks, baby. Fly Zero Gravity here. I think the benefits of the bye weekly still paying off. McDonald had a chance to coach the boys up. Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. I mean, again, and just to kind of rewind to that early stretch, that brutal stretch that the Seahawks had, 3 games in 11 days for a completely new coaching staff, a bunch of new personnel on all three sides of the ball. Less than ideal. Every team has to do it. I'm not saying that anybody should feel sorry for the Seahawks, but for them to kind of have been in that position, you just can't be surprised, right? And so going back to your point, Fly Zero Gravity, yeah, he's definitely had a chance to coach the boys up. I mean, and with the retirement of Connor Williams, Tyrell Dodson being released, I think Seattle, John Schneider, Mike McDonald mainly, they took a hard look at this roster and decided to make a couple of moves. I know Connor Williams retiring. Obviously, that didn't have anything to do with the front office. At least that's what we think, right? But, I mean, and this is old news, but to kind of just release Tyrell Dodson just out of nowhere, I mean, I'd have to think that the Seahawks were doing a whole lot of soul searching. And, man, look what's going on now. I mean, shoot. Sajin, I'm concerned about the Packs, though. I'm not. To be 100% honest, I'm not. The Packers are a good team. I don't think they're an elite team. But I do think that the Seahawks have a chance against anybody, elite or not. Packers are a good team. Packers might be a great team, maybe just short of being a great team. But I don't think the Packers are anything to be concerned about. Jackie's saying, just hoping the Seahawks get to 10 wins this season. I'm just hoping the Seahawks get into the playoffs. I mean, whether that's 10 wins, 9 wins, get into the playoffs, anything can happen once we get there. So once that happens, if that were to happen, then that's all that matters to me. I mean, 10 wins is cool, especially for a first-year head coach to hit double digits in your first year. I think that'd be one heck of an individual accomplishment. But I think right now, nobody really cares how many wins you get as long as you make the playoffs. That's the most important thing. But, Jackie, thank you for sharing that. Going back to what we were saying earlier, you guys, I do just want to share this with you guys here. Pro Football Focus graded running back Ken Walker as Seattle's highest graded player of Week 12 with an 82.9 grade. So now I want to ask you guys, and I'll reveal mine here in just a second. And I'm going to start doing this regularly, right? So if I do this regularly, as far as streaming, following a Seahawks game, I'm going to talk about my offensive player of the week and my defensive players of the week. And so I want to ask you guys, who is your offensive player of the game? I said of the week, of the game today, and who is your defensive player of the game today? Now, we might have some of the same answers, but I'll just put mine up on the board right now. My offensive player of the game today, wide receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba. You guys can see a bunch of the stats here. I have it laid out for you guys on this bottom ticker. But Jackson Smith and Jigba, today he had 6 receptions on 7 targets for 77 yards and the team's only touchdown. And so, again, and kind of glossing over the box score, you don't really see any dominant performance from any of Seattle's offensive players. But again, it just wasn't needed. It just wasn't necessary. And so it's not like because Seattle didn't put up any sort of crazy numbers in any sort of offensive statistics, it does not mean that Seattle had a bad day offensively. Again, they just didn't need to. And when your defense and special teams is playing as well as it did today, I mean, there's just not a need to pile up a bunch of stats. But, I mean, somebody has to be granted this award, right? And so I'm going to kind of give it to Jackson Smith and Jigba, not just by default. I mean, again, he was responsible for the team's only touchdown. Again, he led Seattle in receiving with 77 yards on 6 catches, 7 targets. Last 3-4 games, I mean, he's just been on an absolute tear. He had somewhat of a slow start to the season, but to kind of see him just getting it together and putting up these stellar performances, I mean, the sky is absolutely the limit. And I can't wait till I have another opportunity to be able to interview him again. I'm hoping that this time around I can interview him on my platform. Because if you guys have been paying attention to me, I mean, I had the blessing, I had the honor, I had the privilege of being able to cover the All-Star Celebrity softball game that he hosted last summer. And I had the opportunity to interview him, Garrett Wilson, Lofa Tatupu, a bunch of guys. And a lot of these guys I still plan on having on this platform, on this show. I do want to bring those interviews to you guys. But I just, man, when I think about the time that we spent, or at least the time that I was able to kind of, chop it up with him last summer, I mean, I just had a feeling that he was in store for a huge season. And it's funny because for those of you guys that know me, I'm an avid fantasy football player. We're going to get a little off topic here, but we got some time. And so just a quick story. But I'm an avid fantasy football player. I'm in 25 fantasy football leagues, and I've just been playing fantasy football since I was in, 7th grade. It's been a while now. I've been playing for over 10 years. And if you know, you know. But I'm in a league. I'm in an industry league. One of many leagues. But I'm in an industry league. It's a super flex tight end premium league. And at the beginning of the year, and just to kind of preface a little bit, I should have prefaced earlier, a majority of the team that I had was auto-drafted because I had overslept, and we were drafting this draft was based on East Coast time. And so essentially the team that I ended up with, I just was not happy with. And a lot of the guys I was looking to trade, I was looking to move. I said that everybody's on the block. I had Devontae Adams on my team, and somebody had offered Jackson Smith-Njigba and Taysom Hill. Again, this was like a week or two before this season even kicked off. And as soon as I got that offer, I was like, heck yeah. As far as draft value, yeah, I'm not going to win that. Even now, I'm still not. Actually, no, it doesn't even matter now. But yeah, as far as where these guys were drafted, horrible value, right? But I basically traded Devontae Adams for Jackson Smith-Njigba and Taysom Hill. Now, the Saints were on bye this week, but you guys saw what Taysom Hill did last week. I mean, he was an absolute menace against the Cleveland Browns. And so I had a lot of people clowning me after I made that move to trade Devontae Adams for Jackson Smith-Njigba and Taysom Hill. A lot of people were clowning me. A lot of people were doubting my fantasy football expertise, my fantasy football knowledge. And a lot of people were questioning whether or not I knew what I was doing. Heck yeah, I knew what I was doing. I mean, come on, baby. What? Yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. But yeah, Jason slowly becoming one of my favorite players. Man, I can't wait to see what the final stat line is going to look like because, yeah, he's been phenomenal. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Got some of you guys here in the chat. So before I bring up my defensive player of the game, I want to get back to some of you guys here in the chat for a little bit. Let me see. JWL in the building saying Steely. Yo, Steely. I know you meant to say Steezy. I'm playing along. But hey, what's up, JWL? Thanks for tuning in, man. Happy to have you here in the building. Nashif is asking off topic, but do you think it's time for the Hawks to trade Trae Young? Oh, okay, so a little bit of NBA talk here, just real quick, because I don't want to spend too much time on this topic. Man. Right now, I would say no. I would say no, just because he still brings a lot of people into the building for games. And I still think that he's young enough to where you could potentially build around him still, right? I think that in the next, 3 to 4 years, by the time you feel like you have, a bunch of guys that could contend for an NBA championship, I still think that Trae Young is young enough now to, when we fast forward, 3 to 4 years, he'll still be like in his prime. And so I know a lot of people believe that you can't win with Trae Young as your best player. Maybe he doesn't have to be your best player. He could be your second or third best player. Now, I don't know how exactly they're going to be able to acquire a guy that's better than Trae Young. We'll see what happens. But to answer your question now, Chief, I don't think it's time to trade him just yet. I'd still hold on to him. And Nashif is now saying Jason, man, for sure. Yeah, I think a lot of us will agree with that. Oh, this is James. Okay, this is my brother, James. Okay, I wasn't exactly sure who this was because I just haven't seen the handle on YouTube yet. But JW, yo, Steezy, how you doing? Keep up the good work, James. Hey, I'm blessed by the greatest, blessed by the absolute best. My good brother, man. Thank you for tuning in. Happy to have you here in the building, man. Thanks for tapping in, James. It's always love, my good brother. I hope you're doing well too, bro. I hope you've been enjoying your Sunday today. It's been an absolute blast across the NFL slate. And as you can tell, I'm in a great mood, right? I'm feeling ecstatic. I'm feeling absolutely spectacular. And so, man, great to have you here, James. Thank you for tuning in. Fly Zero Gravity saying, Jazz saying fire. Oh, fire might be an understatement, but heck yeah. Man, we got Abby in the building, man. How you doing, brother? We need Eagles to lock in what they're doing. Seahawks are trying to top these division or trying to top the division and control it with Niners, Cardinals, and now maybe Rams losing. Yeah, I think the Eagles, I mean, again, like I was just saying earlier, they're the more talented football team. The strengths that they have on defense match up against the Rams. And so, I don't know, the Rams, I mean, they're still more than capable of potentially coming back, but I do think that Philly holds on to win. So, I think that'll only complete an ideal weekend for a Seahawks fan, right? Seahawks win, Seahawks first place in the division, and every other opponent in the division loses. Oh yeah, sign me up for that every day, baby. Oh man. And then I'll be talking to Sajin here. And we got my good brother Gerald in the building, man. Yo. Gerald, my good brother. Happy to have you here. Happy to see you here. It's nothing but love for you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Let me know once you're back in Seattle, bro. We're definitely gonna, put something together, and we're definitely gonna, link up and chase greatness, right? But happy to have you here, Gerald. Matthew Hackett, man, Spoon has been great these last 2 weeks. He's helped force 2 INTs, and that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, Matthew. And again, thank you for tuning in. Happy to have you here as well. Spoon's contributions, you can't quantify it all, right? Like, you're not always going to see his contributions in the stat sheet. And that's why it's so important to watch film and to really watch these games. I know not everybody's going to be watching film, and that's why it's important to watch the games before looking at box scores and making assumptions off of that. Because one could look at a box score and see a bunch of these different counting stats and say, oh, wow, like this player is having an all-pro season, or, this player has been piling up stats and numbers. He deserves to get paid this amount of money. A lot of times, they're still more than deserving, right? But if you're not really watching the games, and especially if you're not watching the film, you'll never really know, especially if you're not seeing something in the box score. But Spoon, man, his energy is just so contagious. It's so infectious. And I'm starting to think that now it's rubbing off on everybody else, right? And you have a defensive mastermind now. It seems like everybody's starting to pick up on the scheme. That arrow is just, the sky ain't enough to sky's not the limit for this defense. It truly is. I mean, this defense, it's starting to come into its own, right? It's starting to come into its own. And we got my dog here, my brother Larry Batista in the building. What's up, bro? I just got home from work. What about them Seahawks, baby? What about the Seahawks, baby? Man, you know what it is. Larry, my good brother, tuning in here after a long day of work, still taking the time to hop in the chat and say what's up, man. I appreciate that, Larry. Happy to see you here. And look, your profile picture is beast mode, with the grab. That's what it's funny, because that's what Kobe Bryant did. Obviously, as you guys all saw, that's what Kobe Bryant did en route to his pick 6 for a touchdown. And speaking of Kobe Bryant here, I'm gonna get back to you guys here in the chat. Let's resume though, shall we? I talked about my offensive player of the game earlier, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Not a surprise, right? But I had 2 defensive players of the game, and I got to go with defensive end Leonard Williams and defensive back Kobe Bryant. On top of that, pick 6, and obviously it came with an INT, right? Kobe Bryant also has 6 total tackles and, a pass deflection? And Leonard Williams, you can see his stat line right here, 6 total tackles, 2.5 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, 3 tackles for a loss, and a pass deflection. Leonard Williams had arguably his best game in a Seahawk uniform, just absolutely wreaked havoc all afternoon long. James Conner, who I have been high on this season, I predicted him to put up a pretty decent game, but he was, oh my gosh, 7 carries for 8 yards. Now, obviously, that's not all Leonard Williams is doing, but he was a critical component to Arizona's run game just being completely shut down. Let me double check this. The Cardinals had 49 rushing yards as a team. They averaged 3.5 yards a carry today, and they were one of the top teams in the NFL as a team as it pertains to running the football. And so to hold them to under 50 yards rushing, not only did the Seahawks hold the Arizona Cardinals to less than 10 points, but you took one of their strengths and you made them just completely fall flat on their faces in regards to that strength. They had less than 50 yards rushing. James Conner had 7 carries for 8 rushing yards, for crying out loud. I mean, my gosh. Oh, man. Yeah, I had to put 2 guys on here. Kobe Bryant had arguably the play of his career thus far. Leonard Williams had the day of his life or the game of his life in the Seahawks uniform. I mean, there are a bunch of other guys that I wanted to highlight. Right, Julian Love had a couple of pass deflections. Ernest Jones, once again, led this football team in total tackles with another double-digit outing. He had 10. Jaron Reed entered the sack party. Who else was a part of that sack party? Jaron Reed, Tyrese Knight, like we talked about at the top of the show, first sack of his NFL career. Boye Mafe, I mean, he's just been doing what he's been doing. Oh, man. I couldn't just keep it at 1. Matter of fact, I wanted to do potentially 3 defensive players of the game, but I didn't want to take too many options away from you guys. And so let's hear it, chat. Let's hear it. I want to hear your guys' defensive player of today's game. Let's see what you guys got. Here. Tapman Clan Killer saying Spoon was on fire. Hey, he has been on absolute fire. And that's why I had to get him on the thumbnail, right? Shout out to Austin. Shout out to my partner in crime. Austin, if you're tuned in or if you will tune in, much gratitude, truly, for that thumbnail. But that's why I wanted to include Spoon on that thumbnail. I mean, yeah, he's just, man, Spoon. Maybe this might have been a little stretch, but entering this year, I made a prediction. I had a hot take. I was saying that by the end of this season, Spoon is going to be the best corner in the NFL. That's probably not going to come to fruition, and that's not a knock on Spoon. That just is a testament to how many great cornerbacks there are in the National Football League. I still think he can be that, right? Maybe next year, just not this year. Maybe I was a year early, but Spoon, yeah, and Tackman, I don't know if you were here earlier, but like I was saying, I mean, it's hard to quantify Spoon's impact on a football game, right? Because you're not always going to see his impact and what he's able to do on the football field in a box score. But if you watch the games and if you watch film and if you know football, you don't need to. And so I know a lot of you guys know ball. You guys watch the Seahawks, and so I'm not necessarily talking about you guys. I'm more so directing that it's more of a general statement. But yeah, Attack Man Clan Killer, man, happy to have you here. And yeah, thanks for the comment. Swoon was most definitely on fire. Even that might be an understatement, which is saying something. I'm crying. Gerald and Larry, you're having a back and forth. Larry was good. Was good, Gerald. Black Blues in the building. I don't think I've seen you here yet. So thanks for tuning in. Happy to have you here. Calvin Domingo's the name. Steezy A. Smith is the game, if we haven't met yet. Nah, Hawk scored 16 with another silly can't read the room pick by Gino. Hey, a win's a win. And again, this team, the arrow's still pointing up. You know, this team is still getting better as the week progresses. And as long as these guys, you know, watch the film and kind of go over what needs to be worked on, I mean, you can't be mad at it. Again, the win is a win. But I do understand your frustration because Geno Smith does, and is still leading the NFL in interceptions, which is not a good thing. But if this team makes the playoffs and he's able to cut down on those turnovers, it shouldn't be a problem. And like everything, right, a lot of those interceptions need context. I know whenever a quarterback throws an interception, you know, it's not always their fault because a lot of the times or sometimes a receiver will drop a ball and they'll fall into the lap of a defender, or he'll kind of try to catch it, but then the ball comes out and lands into, you know, the hands of another defender, or it could be deflected at the line of scrimmage and then another defender. There's a lot of circumstances or situations in which a quarterback throws an interception, but it's not necessarily his fault. And so I say all that to say that I think you can count a good 4 to 5, maybe 6 of Geno Smith's interceptions that were not his fault. whether it was a drop by one of his pass catchers or whether it was deflected at the line of scrimmage, I mean, we could go through, and I'm not saying right now, but and I'll probably do this before the year ends or the football season ends, but I do want to go back through each and every single one of Geno Smith's interceptions and kind of look at which ones were his fault. But I mean, yeah, to your point, black blues, that just was that's what kept Arizona in the game. Now, if Seattle would have scored even just a field goal, maybe that would have been game right there. But yeah, that was a bad pick. That was most definitely a bad pick. Gerald here is saying, just got back from the Hawks game. Oh, so okay, so Gerald, you're back in town then. Wow, I didn't even realize you were at the game. I hope you had. I know you had a great time. I don't even need to say that, but that's dope. I'm glad to hear you got back home safely. Jackie saying, gotta go work tomorrow morning. Happy Thanksgiving. Hey, happy early Thanksgiving to you, Jackie, and to all that celebrate. Thank you for the kind message. Matthew was saying, man, that Ernest Jones pickup elevated our defense for sure. Oh, what? I think elevate might be an understatement. I mean, the impact that he's had, similar to what I was saying about Spoon, just him being all over the place, flying to the football, the aggressiveness, the physicality, the sort of boom that he has in his game, it's contagious, right? And a lot of these other guys, Julian Love spoke glowingly of Ernest Jones during one of his press conferences just a couple of days ago, and I think a reporter had asked him what's gotten into this run defense haven't improved all of a sudden, and Julian Love said it. Simply put, Ernest Jones, right? And so Ernest Jones, not only has he helped elevate the run defense, he's just elevated the defense as a whole. He's elevated the guys around him. What more can you ask for, right? Especially considering the fact that he was a midseason addition. It's not too often you get midseason additions that have this much of a positive impact on a team, right? I mean, Quandre Diggs definitely comes to mind when he was traded from Detroit to Seattle back in 2019. Dwayne Brown as well, right back in 2017. But yeah, it's not too often that you get a guy in the middle of the year via trade that is able to elevate, to the team around him to the extent that Ernest Jones has. He's been an absolute wrecking ball, man. Larry here is asking, I think we got the Jets next. That's right. Next Sunday in New York at 10 a.m. Pacific time, Seattle will be traveling to New York to place the Jets. Whether or not Aaron Rodgers is going to be the starting quarterback, we do not know. But that game is on Sunday on the first day of December. Matthew saying James Conner's run success rate was 0% today. I read that somewhere. Wow. Matthew, if you follow me on Instagram, if you find wherever you read that, if you could DM me that article or that post, please, because that's something I want to reference when I hop back on Instagram. And I'm gonna have a post lined up for tonight and for tomorrow as well. That's definitely something I might want to use. But my gosh, I mean, it's believable, right? When you're running 7 times for just a total of 8 rushing yards, and I can see why your run success rate would be 0%. And again, I've been high on James Conner all year long. He's been having an absolutely phenomenal year. He's been a very significant piece of that Cardinals puzzle, and as far as the success that they're having this year. And so for him to be held to that low of a total, he was used as a receiver today. And so from a scrimmage yards perspective, he definitely still was able to kind of put on some yards. I think he had 40 plus yards receiving, but I mean, again, 7 carries for 8 yards. And then according to Matthew Hackett, a 0% run success rate. Whew. Yeah. And that defense, whew, sheesh. We got Baby Rhea in the building saying, you heard, it's Calvin. Hey, always happy to have you here, Rhea. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you. Gerald is saying, Jason is looking, you don't even got to explain, brother. Whew. Matthew Hackett, that Ernest Jones pickup was underrated, and James Conner run success. Okay, so 0%. Okay, gotcha. And then Matthew saying, yep, I'll follow you on IG. I'm going to find it and hit you up, bro. All right, bet. I appreciate that, Matthew. Thank you. Well, I'm going to use this as a segue. We're not done talking Cardinals and Seahawks or actually, no, we might be. But for those guys in the chat, if you guys still have any sort of thoughts or takeaways from today's game that you want to talk about, I just briefly want to get into Seattle's upcoming matchup. I mean, Larry kind of already said it in the chat, so why not use this as an opportunity to kind of segue into what I wanted to just briefly touch on. Larry, what's next for Seattle, you might ask? Well, like I answered, it'll travel to New York to play the 3-8 Jets at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday, December 1st. I'm not going to use tonight's show to preview that matchup. I'll probably go live again later this week. So don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a live show. But I do kind of like this. I do like going live on the same night as game day. And so I might do this again next Sunday. Who knows? But I do still plan on going live later this week, whether that's Tuesday evening or Wednesday evening. I'm not entirely sure yet. And so if you aren't already subscribed for whatever reason, or if you're catching the replay, just hit that notification bell so you never miss a drop when I drop, whether that's a live, a short, or a regular upload. Yeah, just hit that notification bell, man. I know for me personally, I'm subscribed to a lot of creators on YouTube, and I just, especially as of late, I haven't been seeing a lot of that content on my feed. And, it's almost as if I'm not any longer watching my favorite creators, but that's not necessarily the case. And so just to kind of avoid that altogether, make sure y'all hit that notification bell, man. Couple of comments here. Tyler Parcher in the building. What's going on, Tyler? Steezy. Hey, Steezy. Hey, Tyler. I hope you're having a great day. And go Hawks, baby. How about them Hawks? Gerald's asking, what are the Seahawks' chances of a deep playoff run? Oof. I don't know about a deep playoff run this year. And so to answer that question specifically, I would say it's not super likely. As far as just making the playoffs, I think that's very likely. Getting past the first round, I think that's somewhat likely. But I think when you ask about a deep playoff run, you're referring to surviving multiple rounds or having beaten multiple opponents. And so I think Seattle's absolute ceiling this year is past the wild card and getting to the divisional round. I'm not sure about anything further than that, but anything past the wild card in Mike Ronald's first year as a head coach, I think should be considered a massive success. And then I think, Matthew, this is, what is this, your Instagram? Matthew Hackett 8, Matthew Hackett 12. And then Tyler here echoing what everybody else wants to say. Excuse my French in advance. Hell of a game. Oh, heck yeah, it was a hell of a game. Let's go, baby. Now, I don't want to make this abrupt. This is going to seem abrupt. But I do want to make sure that I end this live stream before I hit the 1 hour mark. And so just real quickly, you guys, I know time flies when you're having fun. I've had an absolute blast with you guys. I kind of just looked up and said, oh, damn, we've been live for almost an hour now. I know I kind of came on delayed, but hey, man, I've had an absolute blast. For those of you guys that have tuned in, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I know you could be watching any other show. You could be doing anything else on Sunday this evening, but instead you guys chose to tap in. And for those of you guys that are going to catch the replay, thanks for tuning in. Again, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a drop. I do drop daily on Instagram, so make sure to follow me on there at Steezy A. Smith TV. I did want to end today's show off with a fun fact. You guys might or might not know this. If you watched my interview with Seahawk legend Robert Turbin from a couple of months ago, then you probably know this, so this isn't news. This is more so old news, but just thought I'd share this with you guys because I think it's pretty cool. Aaron Rodgers and yours truly right here share the same birthday, which is the day after Seattle plays the Jets. Like I said earlier, the Seahawks play the Jets on Sunday, December 1st, and then Aaron Rodgers and I will be celebrating a birthday the very next day, the following day, Monday, December 2nd. And so I just thought I'd share that with you guys again. I thought it was a pretty cool fun fact, and it's an honor to share a birthday with Aaron Rodgers. That's pretty dope. Aaron Jones as well, Vikings running back, for those of you guys that didn't know that. Gerald is saying, either way, Seattle exceeded expectations this year. Oh, no doubt about that. Dax White's defensive player of the game was Spoon. Okay, I like that. Now Chief is saying, peace out, Steezy. Hey, peace out, little brother. Take care, and I'll see you in the next stream. Did you see LJ Coley bow to the crowd after sacking Geno? Glad he's gone. I did see him bow. And hey, LJ Coley revenge game, DJ Dallas revenge game. Dax Swag, happy to have you on here. It was a pleasure. I hope to see you in the next stream. Tyler Parcher saying you should stream the game next Sunday. Hey, I'm gonna see. I'll let you know, Tyler. Thanks for tuning in. I love you guys so much. Again, I hate to make it so abrupt, but as always, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. I hope you all have a wonderful night, a great night. I will be going live again later in the week to preview Jets and Seahawks. And then the next time that the Seahawks do play the Jets, I will have a couple of Cardinal content creators, if not Cardinals beat reporter Darren Urban on the show. So be sure to stay tuned for that. This about wraps up the show. Ladies and gentlemen, all praise to my Lord and Savior, Lord Jesus Christ. Praise to God. Always, I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your night, a blessed rest of your week. Let's have a great week. Let's be great. And Steezy out, baby. Peace, you guys. Peace, Gerald. Be smooth, brother. Again, this video is going to be dedicated to Mr. Todd Nas. While that concludes this video, we have loads of other content. You don't have to stop watching there. Other content on our channel homepage, as well as our social media platforms. And again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for us. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Nothing but love, and Steezy out.